many years ago, I had a lot of hormonal issues. Actually, I had several fibroids that had to be removed. I had always migraine headaches, bloating. I felt really tired and so on. And through my own journey and learning how to eat better for me, for my own set, for my personality, is really how I improved all my health issues. And that actually is what helped me to go through Peri and then menopause, obviously, with a breeze. For me, it was I had almost no symptoms, little bit hot flashes here and there, but they were really very little. And for me, actually, it was, I'm happy, right? Nothing in terms of mood swings or whatsoever. So for me, that really allowed me to help my clients, of course, to do the same. And that was what made me become a nutrition coach in the first place. I wanted to help other people to achieve the same. So I started over 6 years ago now in Miami initially. I moved around a lot. I lived in South Africa, in Miami, in Portugal, in Italy. So anyway, I help really people and women mostly to overcome their emotional eating, cravings, weight issues, and any related health issues, such as hormonal issues, thyroid condition, and so on. So that's where I am at. Cannot hear you.
There we go, sorry. Hormonal equilibrium. Tell us about that. Is it possible? Because we've been hearing so much of the dips and, you know, imbalances of estrogen and progesterone. So can we have equilibrium with our hormones during perimenopause and menopause?
I believe you can, right? Or most people can. There is, of course, you know, there are exceptions maybe, but in general, I would say most people can have equilibrium and are able to balance their hormones. By the way, no matter where they're at, you know, in terms of the life stages or so, but especially obviously during perimenopause and menopause, you know, a lot of women do struggle with hormones. And working with my clients and seeing it for myself, you definitely can, through lifestyle, nutrition, and the right approach, of course, and many, you know, you've talked today, you know, about so many different ways of improving your hormones and balancing them. Definitely, yes.
What would be your biggest thing that clients come to you and you think that is messing up your hormones? Would it be their eating style or their stress levels or their sleep? Which do you think is the big one?
It's always difficult to pinpoint it to one. I really believe in a holistic approach, but to answer your question, and seeing how often people struggle is really through the nutrition. I believe nutrition is probably somewhere around 80%, maybe 70% part of your health in general, and of course of your hormone balance. The issue is that most people are eating not well for their health, for their body, for their personality and whatever. And also they are, in general, most people are eating too much sugar and too much processed food. And so if you have this combination, not eating right for your type, for your personality, and eating a lot of processed food or sugary food or so, then obviously it's kind of like a bomb, right? It's just, it makes everything, even if you try hard to sleep well, if you try hard to exercise and do the whole, you know, meditation or whatever, stress management, it's very difficult. It's also, you know, a lot of people try then to do a diet. And again, a diet is not gonna give you the solution. A diet is usually a quick fix. And I speak now about diets like the keto diet or the whole food, the paleo diet or whatever it is, right? These are also usually very restrictive ways of eating, and then you cannot keep it in the long term. So it's an overall healthy eating lifestyle that is important.
I want to ask you another question on your thoughts on diets. Do you feel that, you know, women go on 1,000,001 different diets through their life? You know, it's the next one out in the bookshop, and you get that and you try that and you try the weird ones and the more sensible ones. And they get to a point where they've been on so much and learned so much from the diets, but then they're almost scared to eat because this diet says no this diet says no that. And it's almost like an anxiety over eating because you think everything is bad for you.
Absolutely. And you're full on right. And literally, I think 95% of the people who come and see me, I offer a complimentary consultation to people who are interested in working with me. They always say the same, right? Like, I've tried every diet under the moon or whatever it is, right? Because our life is so much on dieting, right? It's so much, the diet industry is an industry, obviously, that kind of makes us believe we are wrong, we are at fault, not the diet industry, right? So eventually women come up, men as well, by the way, but eventually believe, you know, they are at fault, and they just try one thing after the other in the hope, and that just diets don't work.
Now, one question I haven't asked anyone else before today is, do hormones constantly change throughout our perimenopause and menopause, or do they change a bit and then stay the same?
They do change constantly. And I mean, hormones change constantly. And it's also to understand that it's not only about the female hormones, right, or the sexual hormones. We have so many hormones, right? We have melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. We have ghrelin and leptins, which are the hunger and satiety hormones. We have our thyroid, we have the adrenals, right? So there are so many hormones that are affecting us and obviously our health throughout. So they are constantly changing. And if one hormone is out of balance, it's potentially affecting the other hormones. So it will, throughout perimenopause and menopause, your hormones are constantly changing. Yes, absolutely.
So let's just go into a little bit about sleep, because I know a lot of people are having trouble sleeping, whether it be trouble getting to sleep or staying asleep or being woken up by hot sweats or waking really early. What would be your best advice when there is trouble with sleep?
Great. First of all, to go back to your nutrition, right? If your nutrition, or if you struggle sleeping, and if you have hot flashes and that makes you, for example, struggle to sleep, again, you can balance your hormones by better eating. And I'll share a little bit more about it later, what you can do actually. But it's really important to understand that sleep is a sign and symptoms, right? It's like hot flashes. It's like having bad skin or being overweight, whatever it is, it's always a sign and symptom. So you need to look actually at the root cause of your issues with sleep, right? So obviously, if that's hot flashes, then we look at hormone balance, and then we address the hormone balance by eating the right foods that allow our hormones to balance. And there are specific foods that you can actually eat that help to balance, and other foods that you might want to exclude, such as sugar, for example, that help you. And then in terms of, so once you found out really what's the kind of the root cause of that, then you can work on the sleep. And obviously, once you address the root causes, you can, for example, work on a routine. I'm big on routines and habits. It's actually my fourth step of my 5-step formula, of my food freedom formula, is really to implement habits. And for example, a very good thing is to have a routine at nighttime to induce sleep. So if you are, let's say, very busy and you think constantly about, oh, what do I need to do tomorrow? Maybe sit down, journal a little bit, and put your plan for tomorrow together on a paper and write down, all the things you need to do tomorrow. Maybe you want to do a meditation, or you want to journal in general, just, to get it out, or you might want to go maybe on a little walk or so. At the same time, you want to to look at when are you eating and how much you're eating. Are you eating the right foods? If you're eating just before you sleep, you obviously will struggle with digestion through your sleep, and that might affect your sleep, right? So you might want to decide to eat a little bit earlier. If you're eating a super heavy dinner, lots of fat, lots of protein, and so on, it might work on you. So you might want to make it lighter, a little bit with more vegetables. And by the way, it's quite important to eat rather carbs and starchy carbs in the evening, not during the day, because starch is and carbs as well, and grains are actually inducing sleep. So that can be also something helpful. You might want to experiment with essential oils, for example, breathing exercises. If you wake up in the middle of the night and you have hot flashes, I definitely would recommend to breathe, right? Do a calming breathing exercise, and that should help.
Because so many people wake up and they're a mixture of frustrated and angry that they were awake and anxious then because they're thinking, I'm not going to be able to get back to sleep. And if you breathe, you automatically bring your stress response back down, and your body understands, okay, it's all right, everything's all good, you can slip back into sleep.
Absolutely, you can. And again, I would always recommend to do a breathing exercise there or a little meditation. And just for you to know as well, is a meditation doesn't need to be the 1 hour kind of thing. You can do a quick 1 minute meditation, right? There are so many meditation apps out there. There really also maybe something to look at is to listen to music, obviously like very calming music. I use an app for that. It's called Endel, really amazing, where they have soundscapes, and they have one for sleep. And if ever I struggle, and it's very seldom I struggle, but I use that to fall asleep or so. It's really, really helpful. But there are plenty of others out there.
Fabulous. I've never heard of that one, so I will have a little look.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit more about emotional eating, because I know some of our listeners now are very interested in that. And I work a lot with the emotional eating myself, so I love this conversation. What steps do you take with people who are very much emotional eaters to kind of get them out of that cycle, I suppose?
Right. So I actually want to share with you, if that's okay, my food freedom formula, which is my 5-step process, because that is for emotional eating, but of course also a lot of other issues, right? It's really something that it's my proprietary system that I've developed working with so many women, so many emotional eaters, people who have hormonal issues and weight issues as well. So first of all, I mentioned a little bit already, is really recognize the root cause. So especially with hormones and also with emotional eating, it's actually to look very often when we have emotional eating, we are told, oh, but you know, just stop eating, stop eating whatever food we are craving. And it's easy, and it's not, right? So there's a root cause, or several root causes actually, that make us eat and be emotional about eating, or, have stress eating or whatever it is. So finding out what's the root cause. Now, it could be a physical root cause. Very often we say emotional eating, oh, it's all about emotions, get your emotions all sorted and you're fine. Not always, right? It's a big part, absolutely. But very often it could just be something like finding out that you have a food intolerance, right? Food intolerance maybe to things like gluten or dairy, or even so-called healthy food, right? And if you don't know that and you continue eating that food, you actually create an imbalance in your gut, right, in your digestive system. Now, your digestive system and your gut is directly linked to your brain. It's called gut-brain axis, which, by the way, is bidirectional. And if something there is not working as it should be working, it sends the wrong signals to our brain to, for example, our serotonin level, right, our dopamine and so on. And that then influence our hormones, satiety and hunger hormones, which makes us crave things more. So if just by looking at the food intolerance in the first place and removing maybe that food, that could solve your emotional eating. I don't say it will only be that. Usually it's a combination of several things, but it could be a big part of this. And there can be so many other things. I cannot share everything, but that is working with my clients is always obviously what I find out with them, right? I have a very long assessment process where I find out really what's going on. So that helps us then to work on it, which is obviously very important, but also recognizing the root cause about the emotional side, right? If we have, for example, trauma in our life or had trauma in our childhood, or maybe there are some limiting or false beliefs. We are not worthy, we're not valuable. And that's why maybe we kind of learned in the past to make up for that with food, right? And it's so ingrained in our subconscious that it's obviously difficult to get away from. So by recognizing that what it is, then we can obviously work on. So that's the step number one. Step number two is to repair the body's affected systems. So once we know what it is, we also want to repair. Often our system is actually kind of blocked, like stuck, right? You can imagine it a little bit like the pipe in your household, right? If the pipes are blocked, nothing is going through. And the same is in our body, right? If things are not flowing, you can try every diet or whatever, but you're just not getting, to health. And emotional eating, weight issues, hormonal issues are obviously all solved when our body is in perfect health, right? So sometimes our liver has accumulated too many toxins, especially those who maybe eat too much sugar, but it's for everybody. I mean, it's not because you eat sugar necessarily means you have more. There's so many toxins in our world, no matter if it's in the air we breathe, the vegetable we eat, or whatever it is, right? So by doing a reset of your liver or other systems in your body really allows you to repair the body's affected systems and then flow easily. And that often, by the way, is also sleep, right? Just by allowing you to sleep, you kind of repair your body every night. Very important. That's why sleep is so important. Then the next step, number 3, is to reset the body's healing abilities. So once we've gone through, we basically then will address the root causes, whatever there are, and we get the body into a healing. We ideally want to get out of inflammatory state. So we want to lower inflammation. And that's very important, by the way, for the hormones and weight loss as well. We want to repair our gut. We want, of course, to balance our hormones and so on. And then number 4 is to relearn healthy habits. And as I mentioned, I'm huge on habits. Now, when I work with my clients, I like to start off with small habits, and especially with emotional eating. That's so important because we are emotional, right? Stress can trigger it. Whatever is there is triggering it. And when we learn to implement simple habits, then we can build on them. I don't know if you know the book Tiny Habits. It's a great book, by the way. I highly can recommend it. And I use that again a lot with my clients where we implement tiny habits. So it starts off with instead of eating, maybe just drink a glass of water, right? So each time I go to the fridge, instead of opening the door, I drink a glass of water. And then I celebrate, yes, right? So that's a very simple process. You can do that with various things. You can do that to learn to increase your exercise, or maybe swap water for sugary drink, or whatever it is, right? And then we can build up to getting this habit in our system, like brushing our teeth, right? We all brush, hopefully, our teeth morning and evening. Usually nobody thinks about it, right? We learned it somehow in the beginning when we were a child. Our parents probably start with one tooth and then another tooth, made it a bit playful or whatever, and eventually you get this. And that's what's important, because then we don't need to use our willpower. A lot of emotional eaters struggle with willpower, and I always say you don't have enough willpower. There are a bag with coins of willpower, you use them and they're gone, right? So you need to rely on something else, and habits is really what it is. And that is something to implement also through accountability. So I'm huge on really using accountability in my coaching to help my clients to implement that. So get an accountability partner, get a coach, somebody you know who holds you accountable. And then number 5, probably the biggest, is rewire the mindset, right? And there we go deep in, and that usually is the thing that takes a little bit longer, can be quick, but I've seen some clients who got over very quickly. I have special methods I use with my clients to overcome self-sabotage, to overcome those trauma we had maybe in the past, to overcome those limiting beliefs or false beliefs, and just allow ourselves to shine, right? And not then be triggered by emotions, to eat, understand, or get a better relationship with your body and with food. And that's in the end what really counts, and which also I believe leads to long-term transformation.
Amazing. I want to bring you back, I think, a couple of steps and go to, you know, when you were making the new habits and you said drink water when you open the fridge, because I think this is a really understated one. Not only just doing something different, but also congratulating yourself. So whether it be you give yourself a high five, or you even give yourself a hug, or you go and look in the mirror and say, amazing, you're amazing, you know, something that your body and mind gets that recognition and congratulations for, because our bodies and our minds always, that we're like puppies, really. You know, if you pat a puppy, it will come back, it will do something right. And we're like that. So if we treat ourselves the way you would want a puppy to behave and say, yes, you're doing a good job, brilliant, you're more likely to do it the next time. Do you agree, Andrea?
Absolutely. And you could not have said it. I could not have said it better, I must say. And I love the puppy comparison here. It is actually because our dopamine levels, right? We have our dopamine levels, and they crave always a boost, right? And this celebration gives us the boost. And that's why that is so important. You're absolutely right, because in the end, we understand after a couple of times that the action leads to the dopamine boost, right? And so we start craving the action. Now, if you look at it from the other side around, that's why people actually eat emotionally, because the food gives the dopamine boost. So we are craving the food, right? Same thing. So it's exactly that action that we are reversing here. And it took you some time to crave that food, right? So it will obviously take repetition to get the healthy action to something that you crave, not anymore the unhealthy action. And that is really what's so powerful in there.
And it's the consistency of doing those actions, isn't it? So, there's two school of thoughts. The sort of older school of thoughts is it takes 21 days to make a new habit. And now it's more like, well, there's actually probably 3, because there was a stage where people were saying it's 30 days. Now it's more like 60 days. Without kind of going into the depths of how many days, my thoughts are you create a new habit when you start automatically doing it, rather than having to make yourself consciously do it. Would you agree with that, Andrea?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. I mean, some people even say 3 months. There is no, at least I'm not aware of any scientific proof of how many days exactly it does take. But definitely, yes, once you are at this, level where, like, brushing your teeth. I mean, I have my morning routine, right? I have my evening routine, but especially my morning routine, I'm really big, and I developed it the same way, like meditation. I didn't start off with doing a 20 minutes meditation, right? I started off with a 1-minute meditation. And I had that, immediately after I make my lemon water in the morning. I sit down, I put my meditation up on, or the music, I change all the time, and I meditate, right? And then I know that's the cue for my gym, right? And then I do normally half an hour gym. And then that's my cue for making my healthy smoothie in the morning, right? And so on. So basically starting just with one habit that is super easy. So it's something that you can do no matter what. I think that's really important. I have often people who say, oh yeah, but then I do 30 squats. And I say, are you sure you can do that? So they do it. And obviously they last one day and they can't. I mean, provided they've not doing it before. And then I said to them, let's just start with one, right? And if you do more, that's fine, but start with one, something that you're sure to do. And then it just goes in, it rewires our mindset, right?
Because I think, I don't know quite where it's come from, but I have this with almost every client I speak to, and I have probably been like it myself in the past as well, to be honest. But say, for instance, exercise is a really good example. So everybody thinks you need to go to the gym for an hour or do an hour's long class for that to be exercise. So there's a lot of people then that think, if I can't make it to do my exercise, whatever it may be, in an hour, then, oh, I don't exercise. When really you can do some lunges or some squats, or, dance around, run up and down your hallway, whatever it be, for 5 minutes. And that is some exercise. And if that's done consistently and then you just build it up, you've got a really great habit. And I think that thought of it having to be a specific time, or, if you relate that to food or something like that, it having to be a specific, oh, I have to eat this, or, it almost sets you up for failure in the first place.
Sure. I think it's this all or nothing thinking, which many people have, right? Rather do nothing. And there we go back to the mindset, right? Where does that come from? And then we can work on it. But I absolutely agree on, rather starting, like you say, with lunges, exactly like one squat or so. I do home gymming at the moment. I mean, I started when I moved from Portugal, and then, the whole COVID situation came in, of course, and I have my routine. It's much better. And, the app I'm using, they have 5 minutes gym sessions, and they have an hour, right? And anything in between. So I always make sure I do at least 5 minutes. In general, I do 20 to 30 minutes every day. And, I walk in between as well, but like same thing, walk, rather, set yourself up for a 5 minutes walk. Don't try to do the hour walk if it's something difficult for you to do. And it goes really back, same with food, a lot of people try this diet, right? And they have been eating every day at McDonald's, and then they start to go on a really super strict diet. They're setting themselves up for failure, right? It's just, it's not easy to do, and you get easily overwhelmed. So by starting really with a small little habit, and I really like, to actually write it out, or I recommend to write it out, like I do this and I do that, or when I do this, then I do that, and make it small and so on. And then read it, read it aloud, maybe have it as a mantra or a meditation, like today I will do one squat, or whatever it is, write it down, share it with somebody, even more powerful. They've done some studies, and if you set yourself, if you write it down, it increases, I think, the chance that you do it by 86%. And if you additionally to that get an accountability partner, so you share it with somebody, it's somewhere 92 or 93%. I don't remember exactly. So like this, you increase your chance, and then yes, absolutely, make it consistent, set yourself an alarm or whatever it is.
Exactly. And there's so many places you can write it and have it so that you see it, because there's no point in writing it down and just putting it somewhere that you're never going to think about it again. You could have it on your phone as a screensaver, or put it on a little piece of paper in your purse, so that every time you get money out, if anyone ever uses money anymore, you see that in your dashboard in the car, you know, that little bit at the front where you just put a load of junk or even
Absolutely.
stick it to your dashboard, you know, lots of little sort of out of the box thinking ways of, oh, how can I remind myself that this is the person I'm becoming now?
And I like that the person I'm becoming now is also visualization a lot. But I'm actually wondering, I would love to have a little bit the people here who are watching us to share maybe what is, based on what we've been discussing, what is one action, one little habit they can do to start something new, right? To either overcome maybe an unhealthy habit or start a new exercise or drink more water or eat maybe a vegetable every meal or whatever it is. So what is one little step, like the smallest, tiniest amount, something that you can do and you're sure to do every day? So what is the one thing you can do? And I would love you to share that in the chat, actually, so we can see it a little bit. And remember, if you're doing that, write it down with a trigger, or for yourself even, you know, have a trigger, something you do every day, like every day after I finish brushing my teeth and I close the tap, I will drink a glass of water, or I will do a squat, or every day when I finished work and I head to the kitchen, instead of taking something unhealthy, right, I take the carrot sticks that I have prepared already in the morning, something like that. And then I will celebrate, like yes, or high five, or whatever the way you would celebrate. So it would be lovely if you could share that in the chat.
Come on, people, get your thinking caps on. What do you want to change? The other thing I was thinking, oh, what's it gone from my mind now? Oh, the other thing that I find is really good with my clients is to get them to do these new kind of habits whilst they're doing something else, so that it doesn't take extra time out of their day, because most people are very pressed for time and stressed out with time. So things that I suggest, you know, are, if say it was something positive you had to think while you're brushing your teeth, think it while you're brushing your teeth, while you look in the mirror at yourself. Or I often get my Pilates clients to stand on one leg when they brush their teeth to help with their balance and things like that. And that way you can find that you can put more things into your day without it actually taking hours of your time. Has anybody got any little habits they're going to do? Or have you all fallen asleep?
People are shy, I think. Just share one habit you're ready to do. So just one simple habit. There are a lot of people here live, so I'm sure, there they are. Well done. It always takes a little bit time as well with a delay, so well done. So Daniela, every day after the shower, I do 12 lunges on each leg and do a 3 minutes inversion. I do want to hug myself when I get those cravings in the afternoon. So Daniela, if I may say, great on that, well done. Is that, just ask yourself, is that something you can do every day? Or do you want maybe just to do with start with one lunge, right? Or do 30-second inversion or something like that, right? So just be sure that you are sure that you can do that. I don't know where you are at, you know, if you've been exercising before or not. And then remember that you hug yourself right after you do that to celebrate it, right? So that's important that you celebrate it the way you want to celebrate, but definitely that you are celebrating somewhere. Great, Nerissa. Every day I can wake up 10 minutes earlier and spend the time stretching and do breath work. Great. Now, Nerissa, one thing, if I may say as well, is it is important that if you want to wake up earlier, that you plan the evening before or the day before, right? If you go and I'm just now putting some numbers out here, if you go every night at 1 o'clock to bed and you normally wake up at 7 in the morning and you want to get up earlier than that, you will struggle, right? Because you don't have enough sleep. You're aiming ideally for 8 hours. So you would start in the evening already to make maybe, put together a routine or so, a sleep routine that you can have, wind down a little bit earlier, get off your electronics, eat earlier, whatever it is. But so you make sure you go 10 minutes earlier to bed or whatever it is, right? So you're anticipating that. Great, Mel. I go to Pilates 3 to 4 times a week. Is that an action you're gonna do? So is that something you can do every, consistently? So if, then great, but also you want maybe to start just with a shorter thing. So again, if Pilates is a bit a stretch for you, maybe you just want to start with saying, I'm just giving that for others as well, I just put out my Pilates outfit every day, right? And then I go. So if that's difficult, that is a way of kind of tricking your brain, just putting the Pilates outfit. And by the way, also that is a great idea to prepare that in the evening before. So I hope this helps a little bit as how you can rewire your mindset.
And Andrea, it just made me think then of, when we do make goals that are a little bit, stretch us a little bit too much, and we don't succeed in completing that goal, there is actually a little bit of a negative effect then, because we feel like we failed, which is another reason why it's great to start off very small and build it up, so that we know, yes, I can actually achieve this. And then you feel more like doing the, yes, brilliant, rather than, oh, I said I'd do, 3 runs a week and I haven't even got out the door,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think by, just, or rather, let me say rather, when I start working with my clients, it's really important for them to have wins. And usually when I work with my clients, after 2-3 weeks or so, they see the first changes, right? They lose weight, they feel more balanced, they have more energy, whatever it is, right? And it's so important to have those initial success, right? That you're doing something right and sticking to it, because otherwise, it's just another failure. That's what we tell ourselves, right? And then we stop. So absolutely, just starting as small as possibly you can is the way to go.
Perfect. Now, what would be your biggest takeaway or piece of advice to everybody that will inspire or elevate how people are feeling about this time in their life?
It's a great question. I always like to look at any challenge or anything. What is the lesson that I can learn out of it, right? What is it doing? Not what is it doing to me, but what is it doing for me, right? So immerse yourself in that question. What is the advantage of it? Maybe it's, giving you a sign that it's now time to start living healthier and looking a little bit more after your health, practicing more self-care, which, by the way, is very important. I'm huge about self-care. We haven't talked too much about it, but that's really, really important. Or maybe look after your health, that you are there for others, right? Maybe your family, your children, your grandchildren, whatever it is, right? So rather look for an opportunity, right? Instead of seeing it as a punishment or anything like that.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And something you just said then, it just resonated with me, because so many people put themselves last because they're doing stuff for their family, or, they're doing stuff for work, or they're doing stuff for their friends, whoever it may be, and they don't find the time to do the self-care for themselves. And I think being able to recognize that and tell yourself, why am I always doing everything for everybody else? And look at your values. So it may be that you love your family, to the moon and back, and you still want to do things with them, and it's not wrong, but you can work your values around that into why you want to create these new habits. So for example, if you want to work, help your family for whatever reason, you can say, okay, well, I'm going to eat more healthily, or do the lunges, or whatever habit you want to make, because it will make me stronger and fitter to be there for my family. And then you get the emotional connection to keep you going a little bit further and stronger, I think.
Yeah, I love that. And finding the why of the why of the why is something that is super important. I mean, goal setting is obviously very important, and finding out why you want to get there. So just saying, I want to balance my hormones, or I want to lose weight, is not getting you much anywhere, but knowing why you want to do that, and how you with that can influence other people directly or indirectly, right? I have a lot of my clients, they have obviously learned a healthier lifestyle, and they're having so much influence on, other people in their families or in the community or whatever it is. So there are so many ways. Love that. Yeah.
Fabulous. Well, that time went so quickly. Thank you so much, Andrea. Oh, hang on. One last question.
Okay, yeah. By the way, if there are any questions, please do ask them now. And that's a great question, Daniela. I am in Tuscany, which is, I think, the most beautiful area in Italy. So all areas are beautiful, near Lucca or near Pisa. I'm in between both, actually in Lucca, but it's near Pisa where the tower is, which we all know. It is beautiful, yes. And yeah, I'm very lucky.
Fabulous.
So I just wanted also, if I may, share a gift with anybody who is here, and I will share that. Is that okay for me to share in the in the chat? So I have two gifts actually for you guys, also for anybody who's watching the replay. I'm sure you can share that. One is that I have my balanced blood sugar guide, which is basically a sort of starter kit to help to balance your blood sugar, which is one of the hormones, by the way, which helps you to balance your other hormones. And that's really helpful for not only having a more balanced blood sugar, which is important for your sexual hormones as well, but also that helps you, with cravings, and which helps you with having more energy, being more balanced, and so on. And in it, you find, first of all, a healthy way of eating. I have put in a foods to include and avoid list, and you have my healthy smoothie builder, and lots of other ideas there that you can use. So it gives you kind of a quick start to really improve and allow your hormones to be more balanced and overcome emotional eating, by the way, and getting off the sugar. Now, the other one is a complimentary session. It's a consultation with me or with one of my team members, my coaches, to help you if you want to personalize this and learn a little bit more about you and how you can make that work. I shared so much today, and with Vanessa, we talked about so many things. So you might want you have a bit more personal questions, and you want to find out how to improve your hormones, how to balance your hormones during perimenopause. And that is definitely a session that can help you. There's only a limited amount of space there, and you get access directly to my calendar.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Andrea. That's absolutely brilliant. I love all the free gifts. I get really excited.
It's like Christmas, right?
I know,
Early Christmas.
It is. And one of our other speakers, Sally Ann, I'm not sure if she's still here or not, she said that she buys herself a present for birthday and Christmas every year. And I really like that. I'm going to start doing that as well. And it's like the free gifts, take them and love them and buy yourself presents.
Absolutely. Love that too. I might take that up as well as a good idea.
Thank you so much. And we will see you obviously in the Facebook group. And if anyone has questions, obviously they can get in contact with you, or just post questions up in the Facebook group as well. Okay.
Great, Vanessa. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really delighted. So well done on your summit. You can be really proud of yourself. And thank you to everybody for listening and also participating. That's important. So go and implement your habits.
Thank you. Fabulous.
Take care.
Bye.